G'day guys, my name's Chris. Welcome back to iRide Taz and welcome back to our VL250 bobber build. Today we're going to get rid of these huge lollipop indicators and replace them with these mini halogen indicators. I've never had a lot of success with LEDs. I don't want to mess around with resistors and diodes, so we're going mini halogen to keep things simple. The horn on this bike sucks and it looks terrible, so I've bought a chrome horn to replace it with. A couple of simple jobs, but some jobs that will change the bike quite significantly and again help narrow it down. Guys, before we jump into this indicator install, just want to thank chopthandbob.com.au yet again for supporting the video. Go to the website, used iRide Taz 10 on checkout, save yourself some hard earned when you score some of their awesome merchandise and support a local Aussie business. Now let's jump in and rip off these lollipops and replace them with these pretty cool mini halogen indicators. Guys, you might remember in the Sissy Bar install video, we just relocated the stock indicators from here to here just because I removed the license plate bracket and things like that. It was always going to be a temporary solution, and today we're going to fix that. These are massive, so let's rip them off and replace them with something a little bit prettier. We're just using a 6mm Allen key, and I'm just going to cut that there. That'll give us plenty of tail to work with. Get them out of the way. Guys, just a fan of using pre-existing holes in the frame rather than drilling new ones or welding new brackets on. Just excuse the fact I've painted a few things here. I was just experimenting for an up-and-coming side cover video. But yeah, this bracket here looks like a logical place to install these. We might just have a quick look. Yeah, I think that works. Like, I would otherwise have to cut this bracket off, and I think it keeps them tucked in. The indicators become not the widest point on the bike. I think the rears we're going to go here. The fronts, I've got some ideas and we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, just to keep things simple, I think we'll install the rears here. We'll leave that rubber grommet in, which will help reduce the vibration. And we'll pull this down here. Thread that back through. And got so much lead, it's not funny, so we will cut that there. And we'll probably cut them probably about there to work with. And we're going to keep this tube. It's always handy. Reduce the size of that. Strip some wires here. And that's our power wire, and that's our earth. So you can see our power and our earth. Just gonna feed them back. Try not to get this mixed up because otherwise kaboom. Just to start with, to differentiate, I'm just going to clip that power. So feed our tube back on. Feed our heat shrink on. Okay, so that's our power wire, and that's our power wire to the indicators. And we're going to use a solder sleeve. These things are just amazing. Just probably going to clip it down a little bit. And you just use a lighter to melt the solder and shrink the tube. Another solder sleeve. Just ease the heat shrink over it. And shrink that as well. Sorted. And we'll just test it. Yep. Perfect. Probably don't even need to zip tie that in. It tucks in perfectly, like I bought one. Well, that's that side installed. I won't bore you with doing the other side on camera. We'll just finish it and I'll come back to you and then we'll move to the front. Because that's the front indicators there. I think they look great. I think it fits in nicely. It won't affect the development of the side covers I'm doing at the moment behind the scenes. They work, they look good, they're bright. Yeah, I think it's a win. So we'll move to the front and I've got a slightly different idea of what I'm going to do there. So let's get up front and do the front ones. Up front, we've got these monsters. It's just a Phillips head, quite a big one. Jeez, they're tight. There we go. It's got a captive nut on it. Alright, just get rid of that. Rid of that if we can. Oh yeah, there we go. Unravel it. It's caught behind the steering lock. We are just going to cut this there. Give us plenty to work with. And just going to cut down the tube a little bit so that we can expose our wires. I'm just going to crack this nut here. This is tight so it won't fall. Left to loosen. And take that out. And what I've bought is just some prefabricated indicator mounts from eBay. And we're going to pop them there. And we're going to move from there to there using this bolt. So, and it's just a 14mm on a ratchet. So I'm just using the screwdriver to lever against to tighten this triple tree back up. So that's where we're going to mount them there, and then that will quite easily reach because that was the stock location just here. Just grab some washers to help secure it on that, but we're just going to cut the tails quite short because we're only going to there. Strip those wires back. Strip these wires back. So earth, power. We'll just put some heat shrink over all this so we can hide it shortly. Take the nut off. That is a monstrous hole, so I have grabbed a few washers to help reduce it down. So, okay. Tell you what, that's way too long, so I'll snip that there and redo it. And I reckon I might just ditch that and use the heat shrink. So we'll get one of our solder sleeves. Again, these things are just extraordinary. Make these jobs a lot easier. And we're just going to shorten it. I found if you take the tails off back to that orange section, it works just as well, but it can be easier to get into tight places and sometimes easier to cover up. On there, like so. Get the lighter. Now the solder sleeve. Snip the tail off back to the orange sizing band. Slide it on there. Slide it on there. Lighter. You can hear those birds chirping in the background. That's some starlings that have found their way into my vermin-proof shed, so that's something I'll have to address later. But we'll just give that a quick test, make sure it works before we seal it up. Awesome. Put the heat shrink on. heat shrink it down. Installed and looking good. Looking good. Yeah. Again, I won't bore you with the other side, but that's the process. I'll just go around and install the other side, and then we'll get to taking this horn off. The problem I'm having is that is the horn. So that's got to change. In keeping with the look of the bike, I bought this chrome one off eBay. I'm just going to mount it in the stock location using the stock wiring. But yeah, ultimately it'll look better and hopefully work better. Yeah, so it's a 12 mil. It's left to loosen. Just pop that out there. And there's a bracket we don't need anymore. Pop that there. Install that there. Horns aren't polarized from memory, so don't think it matters. Make sure it works. Heaps better. That there. Again, we'll just check it. Oh, is it? There it is. Perfect. So yeah, I'll just clean up and get ready for the reveal. So guys, just a quick stress-free video that's had quite a big impact. Those indicators were massive. So to have some smaller ones that narrow the bike down, that are black, clear lens, I just think it suits the bike, and I'm pretty happy with the location, particularly the back. I haven't had to create a new tab. I've used something that was on the bike stock and was going to be relatively difficult to cut off and remove. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with where they are located. I am behind the scenes working on some side covers, and there'll be a video of that coming out shortly, but yeah, at this point I'm pretty happy with where they're located. You might have seen that I've sprayed a few things black, just experimenting with how much can be exposed and how much has to be hidden of the electrics, the rectifier, all those sorts of things as part of that attempt to create some pretty cool side covers for this bike. Everything works, that's always a bonus. The indicators do flash a little bit quicker than stock. That had just come down to a lower wattage halogen globe. I don't think it's a problem at all. It was a lot less stuffing around than if I went LED indicators that had to have resistors and diodes and things like that. I've never had a lot of success of converting an old bike to LED, and with indicators like this on the market, and I got them from Supercheap, they're just an off-the-shelf item. I actually don't think it's that necessary to go LED. I'm quite happy with how they look and how it suits the bike, and it keeps the bike relatively legal. Considering where they're located and the distance they are apart and how close they are to where the stock items were, this is probably the most legal as far as indication bike I've got goes, and that's great because I plan on handing it over to my partner for her to learn to ride on. So yeah, the more legal, the more safe, the better for a new rider. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. I think it came up really well. The bike itself starting to look great. It's sort of starting to take on what I had in my head of how it was going to look. there's still a lot to go. There's some pretty significant things I've got planned, so I hope you join me. And the videos are on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. At the moment, it's Australian daylight savings time rather than Eastern Standard Time, but whatever. I really hope you join me for those. Check out my sponsors, chopthebob.com.au. If you want to support me, please like, comment, subscribe. buymeacoffee.com/iRideTaz, paypal.me/iRideTaz. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can support this build and support the channel. But guys, my name's Chris. I'll see you next Tuesday. Till then, I'm out.